Today, languages are essential for our society. It is important to know and speak another language to be able to interact and have a confrontation with other people or nations. Sometimes it is necessary to know the culture, the habits, and the traditions of another country and population to deeply understand them and communicate with them. In this case, the figure of the linguistic and intercultural mediator has a key role. Although the career of an interpreter and translator can be very exciting and captivating, they have lots of responsibilities and have to face several problems and obstacles. Many interpreters suffer from stress and anxiety. Sometimes it is important to handle carefully these problems in order to avoid unpleasant situations. In this respect, we want to introduce a new and rising figure that, in our view, could give a great support to mediators and whoever needs help, the counselor. Besides, we would like to suggest an empowering of this professional figure through counseling courses and seminars in order to learn new techniques and approaches. Counseling is a new and original discipline that has developed during the 20th century in the US, thanks to the studies of Carl Rogers. This innovating approach spread quickly at first in England and then all over Europe. The concept of counseling is mainly based on the optimistic view of client-centered therapy by Carl Rogers. The human being has the abilities to overcome and face the difficulties of his life. He is the expert of himself and has the solution of his problems. Rogers defined actualizing tendency, the tendency of an individual to develop and fulfill his goals and achieve his dream. According to the Rogerian therapy, the patient becomes a client because he is not sick, but he has just lost his way. The therapist aims at helping people by an active listening and dialogue. He is not anymore the expert, he has not the solution, but he respects the actualizing tendency of the client and aims at simplifying this process. Rogers claimed that a counselor should have three main characteristics: congruence, unconditional positive regards, and empathy. To some extent, the mediator and the counselor are similar figures. The mediator is a neutral figure, doesn't judge, but he/she helps people communicate better in order to allow them to solve their problems. Among the intercultural mediators, there are also interpreters and translators. The interpreter must be always careful and prepared. He must have an excellent ability to synthesize information. This is a captivating and exciting job, but it can be also very exhausting and stressful. According to a study conducted in 2007, the simultaneous interpreter ranks third in the most stressful jobs list. No wonder their interpreters usually suffer from insomnia, stress, anxiety, lapses, and sometimes nervous breakdown. In this regard, the interpreter as a linguistic mediator can be seen as a perfect client for a counseling session. When it comes to stress, people always think about something negative that mess up their lives and make them upset and inefficient. Stress is the combination of stressor and the reaction of our body to them. Nevertheless, stress is not always harmful. It can be also beneficial. It is important to recognize two types of stress: eustress, the positive stress, and distress, the negative stress. We need a certain quantity of stress in our life, especially positive stress. Eustress provides mental alertness, motivation, and energy. They make us efficient and increase our self-esteem. This kind of stress helps us reach our goals and accomplish our dreams. Unfortunately, today stress is a constant problem for workers and students. In particular, for interpreters and translators, there are several factors that can generate stress: lack of work, deadlines, insecurity, time management, uncertainty of the future. These feelings can lead to lack of concentration and memory loss. Lapses are the most feared problems of an interpreter, especially the simultaneous interpreter, because they must be always ready to translate everything they hear. A lapsus is an unintentional error. They were studied by Sigmund Freud, an Austrian neurologist who founded the psychoanalysis. He thought that these phenomena were originated by a psychic conflict. The conscious tries to hide and repress elements such as emotions, feelings, or ideas that remain unexpressed, but they are still present in our mind. When the unconscious tries to bring the repressed elements to light, the conscious censors them and transforms these elements in dreams or lapsus. Freud believed that every slip of the tongue, dream, or lapse of memory have a secret meaning, which could be decoded thanks to psychoanalysis and its technique, for example, the interpretation of dreams. However, according to recent studies, the unconscious is not the only responsible for the onset of lapsus, but scientists have demonstrated that emotional, linguistic, and memory problems could be the causes. As regards slip of the tongue, they are due to purely phonic problems. Many people speak too fast, and they tend to mix two or more words. Moreover, we must take into account other several factors: attention level, stress, anxiety, embarrassment. The interpreter is usually under pressure and has to choose the appropriate words in a short space of time. Here's an example of lapsus. Italian: non urlare così forte. Target: don't yell so loud, or don't shout so loud. Lapsus: don't shout so loud. These two verbs, yell and shout, are both adequate to express the meaning of the sentence, but the speaker has to make a quick decision about which word should be selected, and due to the pressure, he creates a blend. Counseling is an emerging profession that is perfect for people, workers, or students that have to cope with stressful situations and have a busy life in order to prevent a breakdown. Currently, more and more people suffer from stress and need help to overcome tough periods. A counselor could teach them how to convert negative stress in positive stress and help them enjoy again their lives. In particular, the intercultural mediator could be considered as a perfect client for a counseling session. An interpreter could have a stressful life. His/her profession is often hectic and exhausting, and could cause anxiety and lack of concentration, which could be dangerous for his/her efficiency. In this regard, a counseling session could be an excellent solution in order to learn how to handle stress. At the same time, an interpreter could be considered as a counselor. Usually, a mediator, especially the intercultural one, attend courses of counseling or coaching, or have sometimes a second degree in psychology. We live in an hectic and globalized world that is in constant evolution, and with the passing of the time, the man's need to communicate with other people has rapidly increased. In order to come in contact with people that do not speak our language, the only knowledge of languages is not enough. When it comes to work with foreign people, it is important to have all the necessary means at our disposal to interact with them. Not only do an intercultural mediator, as interpreter and translator, need to know these techniques, but he also has to use them to his advantages. Currently, many interpreters with a qualification in counseling and coaching organizes courses and classes for interpreters and translators in order to support them and help them deal with the difficulties of these professions. This work aims at highlighting the difficulties and the problems that a linguistic mediator could run into during his career, not to discourage people from becoming interpreters, but to make them ready and capable to face these obstacles, and to suggest them methods and give them advices to overcome exhausting situations. In this regard, we have analyzed the therapeutic approach of Rogers, the counseling, that is, a new and innovating method used for the resolutions of everyday problems, such as anxiety, stress, and lack of concentration. We would like to recommend this therapy for interpreters and translators in order to learn how to handle stressful situations and responsibilities, and how to manage time. Besides, we have emphasized the similarities between the mediator and the counselor. We propose an empowering of linguistic mediator with seminars and courses of counseling in order to gain communication and listening skills that are essential for an interpreter. She will become a perfect professional figure that is able to relate with people of different languages and cultures, thanks to his natural skills and to the study of counseling and its techniques.